everybody to our Team Ignite weekly training. Today is February 11th, Wednesday, and today we are going to be talking about the next piece of the business system. I'm just going to review really quick the past pieces that we've already talked about, and for those of you that don't know, we did record these pieces, and they are all out on the YouTube channel. I should have wrote on here the YouTube channel. What it is the DigiGal. That was what my email address and my whole, everything on my website and everything on the DigiGal. So it's THEDIGIGAL. That's the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find the past recordings on there, and this one will go up there as well. But I'm just going to quick review the business system of what we've talked about so far, and then the next step in the process is the close, and I'm going to go through that today. That's the main guts of our talk today, and then we're going to have Amy Getz on for a testimonial on essential oils. She's got some great stuff that she's going to share. So let me, okay, Amy, are you there? See if you can talk, and let me see if I can hear you.
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me get started with a review of the business system. What I want to do real quick is just show you guys where you can find a graphic of the business system, and you can see where I got the business system from. So if you go to Keith Hall's website, which is www.ourglobalsuccessteam.com. If you don't know this, this is where our offline leadership has the information on the system, and this is his system training. And if you go to share tab, I should have paid attention to where I found it the first time, so I apologize that I'm plug-in. Yeah, plug-in. So if you go to the system and then plug-in, and if you scroll down, he's got some awesome training on here on different information. But to see his actual business system training, if you click on the one with his picture and you click Learn More, you'll be able to see the wheel right here. And if I can, this is our business system wheel. We skipped step 1 in the training because I was waiting for the website to launch. In order to join my team, I wanted to use our newest website. So we're going to circle back around and do that next week because it launched yesterday. For those of you that aren't aware of that, our new, the new Youngevity website is out. So we'll go through step 1 the next training next week. We started with developing your list, and there's a whole webinar on contacts and referrals and how you can create your list of potentials, and this is a great thing to share with anybody new on your team. Then we have one on the invitation process, because this is probably the most important part, is learning how to talk to people to invite them to hear about our products and about our business. So this is more than just the 30-second commercial. This is how you would create an invitation that's tailored to the person that you're inviting to hear more about the business or about the products in the business. And then last week we talked about, actually it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about the presentation, and each one of these I've had a different leader on kind of helping me out through the process so that you could hear a different voice beside my own. So with developing your list, Andrea Bowman helped me, the invitation, Kristen Goodman, and the presentation we had Mark Bowman on, so you could hear a male perspective and a female perspective on how we might present the different opportunities. And then this week we have information on the close. And then next week we will talk about this, or sorry, next week we're going to jump to join my team, and then the following week we'll do the strategy session. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew where to find this in case you wanted to look up more of the information. So the close doesn't have a ton of content because it isn't, I mean, it's a very important step in the process. It's just there isn't a whole lot to it. So that's how we're going to close up with Amy, giving us some testimonials about some of the amazing things that she's had happen with the essential oils. So now we're going to move on to the content, which is about asking for the close process. So first of all, Keith says, and he has this on his website too, that some studies he has seen showed that 70% of people don't buy from the store because they weren't ever asked to buy, which happens a lot when we're talking to people. Is sometimes we just forget to end the conversation with, hey, do you want to purchase something, or are you interested in joining my team? So the number one tip in this whole presentation is that you have to ask them to join. And this is probably the biggest hurdle for new distributors because they're so nervous that they're going to get the no, they're going to get the rejection right here, so they just don't even ask, and they're hoping that the person will ask them. And most of the time people don't ask you to join or to buy. You have to ask them and flesh out maybe what the obstacles are or maybe what their questions are in order to lead them to this point. So number one, make sure you ask them to join. And then this is the think versus feel method. You don't want to say to somebody after you've just done this presentation and you've done an amazing job of showing them the products, the opportunity, the momentum that our company is having, sharing about Youngevity, and asking them, what do you think? Because thinking gives them an opportunity to throw out every objection that they possibly have. So if you say that, what do you think? Just be prepared for an onslaught of, well, I think you confused me here, or I think that this doesn't maybe work for me here, or I think this, or I think that. So instead, because I think you're appealing to those facts, think emotions, because the biggest trigger for selling is on emotion. So instead of saying that, what do you think? Instead say, after listening to this presentation, tell me how you feel. You know, do you feel excited? Do you feel optimistic? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel relieved? Do you feel nervous? You know, what do you feel? Feel means you're appealing to their emotions and not those facts. And the facts, I think, is what trips up a lot of new distributors, because when they start asking you questions about the facts, that's what maybe, you know, you're nervous, you don't have all the facts, and you have to keep saying, oh, I'll get back to you on that, I'll get back to you on that. Emotions, though, we can all relate to those, and we can all, you know, collaborate on those feelings, and, you know, you have a better opportunity to have that extended conversation with them when they're saying, wow, I feel really excited, there's a lot of potential here. Well, absolutely, and let me continue on that train of thought. And then they say, you know, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. And then you can say, I know exactly how you feel. I felt that way before, and here are some of the things that helped me maybe get over my nerves. So remember to do the think, or do the feel, not the think. So focus on feelings, not facts. And then when you get to the point where you've asked them if they're ready to join, and you asked them how they felt, and they gave you some of their honest feelings, and maybe one of them was, I feel overwhelmed, and I don't really know that I could do this. So essentially they're telling you no. But a lot of times when they're saying no, they're not saying no to the opportunity. They're saying no because they need some questions answered. You know, they might say to you, I need to think about this for a week or two. I need to look at the literature more. I don't think I know enough people. I don't have time to do this. The best way to overcome all of the objections, no matter what the objections are, and the longer you've been in this business, the more that you hear the same ones over and over and over, you need to keep asking questions and listening, asking questions and listening. Get to the root of the objection. Almost 100% of the time, whatever they tell you is their objection the first time is never the real reason why they're not doing this. You know what? Everybody is saying that they can't see my screen. That is so bizarre. Well, that's kind of a problem, right? Let's see. Can you guys see my screen now? Can somebody type in? Can someone type in if you guys can see the screen now? Oh, good. You guys can see it. So let me go back to the beginning here and just quickly go through it again, although everything I've said so far isn't, the slides aren't that key or important. I went through the agenda that we were going to talk about, the list, the invitation, and the presentation, and the task, the close. I can't believe you guys can see my screen. I'm going to have to re-record this. Okay. So I'm just going to quick flip through the slides, you know, asking for it, what not to say, the think first feel, and then overcoming the objections is where we were. But I do want to show you visually so that you can see quick where the key stuff is. So I'm going to go back to the ourglobalsuccessteam.com. And you're going to go to the one that says the system up at the top here, and then the one that says plug in. You can scroll down a little bit to where there's a picture of Keith, where it says Go Deeper with Keith Hall's Legends Training. Let's learn more. And then you're going to see the tab with the system. And this is the business system that we've been talking about. Step 1, join the team that I shared in the beginning, that we're going to go back and do that one. 2 is developing your list. 3, the invitation for the presentation. And right now we're on the close. And then we'll get through the strategy session. So hopefully I caught you guys back up again. And again, you know what, I'll click through one more time for you just so that you can see. 70% of people don't buy from the store because they were never asked. So we have to ask them to join. What not to say. After listening to this, what do you think? Instead, focus on their emotions and saying, after listening to this, tell me how you feel. And then I was just on this slide of overcoming objections, where they say no. Generally, whatever they're telling you is the problem isn't the real reason. So you have to keep asking questions and keep listening and asking more questions and listening, listening. And then you'll get to the real reason. And the real reason why 100%, almost 100% of the time the person isn't ready to join is fear. And there are some legit, I shouldn't have said almost 100, I'd say probably more like 80 or 90% of the time it's fear. There's some legitimate reasons why people might not join right now, and you know, the timing isn't right. For sure, the timing could be off. But really, a lot of the time it's because they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid they're going to fail. They're afraid they're going to be ridiculed by their friends, by their family. You know, they don't think they have the skills to do whatever it is that, you know, that they need to do in order to be successful. So when you're asking those questions and you're listening to the answers and they're saying, I don't know enough people to do this, and you say, well, how many people do you think you need to know in order to be successful in this business? Say hundreds. And Keith has said, I've heard him say this before, a statistic is that by the time you're 21 years old, you know 2,000 people. So, but you're not going to say that to them right then because they're afraid they don't know enough people. So what I would generally say is, if they tell me they think they know 100 people, they think they need to know hundreds of people to do this, I would say something like, well, do you know that successful people in this industry just focus on finding 4 people that are their key people? They find their first 4 people and they teach those people how to find 4 more. Do you think that you know 4 people that you might be able to talk to? So to bring their level of fear down from I need to know hundreds of people to talk to, of course we're going to make a list of 100 and we're going to talk through that, but to bring them to reality that you really only need to find your first 4 people right now. So that fear, you know, you can work with that objection. You can overcome that one, and then maybe they have another one, and then they have another one, and then you get to the root of the problem. Isn't really that they don't know enough people or they don't have enough time. Their real fear is that they're not going to be able to do this because they're afraid that they don't have the skills. So how can you combat that? Really, to overcome it by offering support and guidance and training. You're partnering with them, and if they trust that you're going to help them, you can overcome all of these things. You can overcome their fear of failures, rejection, all of that, by having them really solidly know that you're going to partner with them, they need to trust you, and that you're going to help them get those first 4 people off to a good start, and then your business is going to grow from there. So that's the conversation that you have at the close. And then when you get that yes, and there's going to be times when that person does say, I have to go home and think about it. Well, of course, you have to go home and think about it. You know, this is a decision that, you know, you should definitely not take in haste. You need to decide that you're going to do it. Or there's going to be that person that says, yep, sign me up right now. So when you get to that point where they're about to sign up, I just want to review the whole, I call it a SEMD unit. I wrote up here team or leg, but it's like your unit. So each one of your units, these SEMD units, is comprised of 39 people. Well, that's how you could make it, is 39 people. This is the easiest way to visualize it, is it's 39 people that are all purchasing $150 a month. And if you have that so that you're at the top, the 3 RMDs under you that are buying $150 with 3 RMDs each under them buying $150 with 3 RMDs under them buying $150. So now you have 3 deep, 3, 9, and 27, 3 people under each of your three first line, 3 people under each of those to get the 9, then 3 more under each of those to get the 27, for a total of 39 people in your unit. And if each of them is buying $150 on auto ship, you're going to have $5,820 in your 3 levels, and you're going to have the 3 RMDs and enough to reach RMD. It's so simple if you look at it this way. 3 people getting 3 people getting 3 people. That is 100% of our focus, is 3, 3, 3, 3. So when we're signing them up to join our business, we want to remember that and know that you're going to have, and I didn't mean to make this bigger than this one, they should have been equal size. We're going to have 2 different ways that people come in this business. They're either going to come in as a product user or they're going to come in as a business builder. And if they're coming in as a product user, you still want to guide them to join us at $10 because then they're going to have excuse me, the opportunity to make that commission off of the product if anybody joins their team. And I call it a referral fee when they're paying the $10 because they're really not going to be making business level income, but they certainly can get their product for cheap or for free. And they might even make a couple $100s a month too. So you're guiding them to either decide, are they going to be a product user and somebody who just maybe wants to tell a couple people and get their stuff for a little bit less expensive, or are they somebody that wants to be a business builder? And so you're sorting them, like Mark said, into, he said that on the other call about the presentation, that he's a sorter. He's sorting people into the product user or the business builder bucket. So when you get them into one of these options, it's a very simple process. For a product user, there's 3 steps. You want them to pay the $10. You want them to put in an initial $150 order because we're always trying to focus on getting the RMDs. And then you want them set up on that $150 auto ship. Why $150? Because they are in position then to, 1, get their quick start bonus, which is the 30% off of any new purchases that happen for them. They're getting free shipping at the $150 level, and they're able to promote to RMD without having to do any, oh gosh, I have to call the home office because I didn't think I was going to get 3 people, and now I have 3 people and I'm not going to promote. Oh my goodness, I had no idea that 3 people were going to join my team this fast, and I'm not ready for it. And so you need to kind of gear them up to get into that position right away so that they don't have to worry about any kind of confusion later. They're already in position to be at that position. Then the second step is the business builder. And the business builder is where you really want everyone to be. You can get them there, right, to buy that CEO pack. And that was a 2-step process. So they are signing up for $4.99 to buy the CEO pack, and then they're getting on a $150 auto ship. Now, most of the CEO packs automatically put you on the auto ship, but they put you on an auto ship for the Healthy Body Pack, which is $118. So you're going to want to guide them to find another product or two so that they can get to that $150 level, because in month 1, they will have their $150 in, but then month 2 shows up, and now they're at $118. Or if they did the essential oils mega pack, there is no auto ship that comes with that pack. So you have to make sure that they have their auto ship set up. And one of the things that we're working on as a team collectively is coming up with some different variations of $150 auto ships and what those would look like, so that you can easily guide people to pick a couple products that will fit in that $150 range. And then the last part of this is, once you have them all set in the system and you've shown them how they can log in, that's super important to make sure that they know how to log in so that they can adjust their auto ship if they need to, and so that they can buy other products if they want to. Setting up the strategy session, which is what we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, immediately following their sign up. So does anybody have any questions about any of this, aside from the fact that I didn't have the slides up there? Let's see. can you guys, if you have any questions about anything on the close or if you have any suggestions for anything, that would be awesome. Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. It is pretty straightforward. Can't think, let's see slide 4 again. Let's go back to slide 4. What not to say. After listening to all this, what do you think? I think it means that you're appealing to the facts. And when you do that, then they're going to start asking you a lot of questions about the facts. But when you instead ask, how do you feel, you're going to appeal to those emotions, and you're going to have a completely different conversation with the person. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about this structure of finding the 3 RMDs, teaching them to find 3 RMDs, and teaching them to find 3 RMDs? That's the whole crux of the whole business, is finding three, and then teaching people to get on that $150 auto ship so that again and again you're qualified. All right. Well, if there's no questions, then I am going to wrap up the close process. The strategy session, like I said, I'll talk about in 2 weeks. Keith Hall has this posted. I think we're going to put it out on Team Fusion training, and we're going to go in depth on that one in a couple weeks. But for now, just know that as soon as you send them put this up within 24 hours, you should really set up a follow-up session. And there is something called the 5x5 marketing brochure, which is a great tool to sit down with them and help them to make their lists of people, to do their biggest reason why, to discuss how to do the invitation process, and how to share the presentation and so forth. So, and there is a sample of the SEMD chart in the back of that 5x5 as well. So that is one of the brochures that you can get in the back office that you can share with new people. All right, well, if there aren't any questions then on the close, like I said, it was going to be a short presentation. Close process really is, there's not a whole lot to it. You just have to ask, overcome the objections, and then move on. I do want to say one last thing about the overcoming objections. One of the famous things that I use, I shouldn't say famous, it's just what I do, is whenever somebody has an objection, you're doing the whole listening, asking questions, I usually throw it back to them. So if they say, I don't know enough people, I'll say, well, how many people do you think you need to know? If they say, I don't have enough time, I'll say, well, how many hours do you think you need to invest? If they say, I don't know enough about nutrition, say, well, what do you think you need to know about nutrition? So that I get a gauge for what they're thinking, because I might be thinking, oh, they don't know enough people, they only know a few thousand, and they might be thinking, I don't know enough people, I only know 10. Or they might say, I don't have enough time, and I might think, they don't have 10 hours to work. And they might be thinking, I don't have 50 hours to work. So it's always interesting to ask them the question and let them tell you what they're thinking, because that's the thing that I hear most often in the time category is, well, I don't have an extra 40 hours a week to work. And then I'll say, well, how would you feel if you could run this business successfully in less than 10 hours a week? Would that change your perspective? And, or like I said, if they said, I don't know enough people, well, how would you feel if you could do this business successfully with 4 people, your 4 key people? So just a little tip on how I overcome the objection. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, then I am going to skip on over to Amy, who is going to share some essential oils testimonials. And I'm sorry that I don't have any slides. I should have at least put a picture of you up here, Amy, so that we could at least see what you look like. All right, it says that you're self-muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself. Okay, there you go. Are you there, Amy?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm really excited to hear. For those of you that don't know Amy, she's an SEMD who is somewhere under Jeanette Bianchi and Karen Bowser, and she has been working with essential oils for a while now, and she has had some amazing success with essential oils. And we're really excited to hear some of your testimonials and some of the things that are working for you. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share, because I'm really excited about essential oils, and we've had some great experiences, and so I'm super excited to be able to share those with everyone. I didn't know a lot about essential oils when I got into Youngevity, and so I've just kind of been learning as I go, and it was a little scary at first because I didn't know a whole lot. But I'm so grateful to Youngevity for having Facebook pages and having training classes and giving me the opportunity to learn more. And so I've been sticking my toes in the water and trying different things out. And one of the things that I did was get the Essential Results Now kit as soon as it became available and learn how to use it. And I watched the women's conference that we were able to get the feed to, whenever that was, when they did it in Atlanta. And I think it was Leanne King had done a demonstration on the Essential Results Now process and how to do it. So I watched that. I attended an Essential Results Now class with Brenda Wright in Baltimore when she came. And so I felt a little confident to try it myself. So I ran home, and my mom happened to be having back problems at that time, and I said, I'm coming over, and we're going to try this and see how it works. And so being my mom, she humored me, and I went over, and she was packing to go on a trip, and she was really struggling to do that. And so I said, well, just sit down for a minute and let me do this, and let's see how it works. So I put each oil on like I was supposed to do, and with every one, she said, wow, I do feel a little bit different. I feel better. By the end, her back pain was completely gone, and she was able to walk around and finish packing without any pain. And she said, I have to admit, I was very skeptical, but I humored you because you're my daughter, and it completely worked, and I'm completely blown away by that. And my dad has had a lot of health problems this past year, and he walked in the door at that time, and she said, you've got to sit down and try this. It's crazy. You're not going to believe it, but it really does work. And he went, that's nuts. I'm not doing that. And she said, just try it. And he said, well, I don't feel that bad today, so I don't think it's going to help me. And she said, just sit down and do it. So I tried it on him, and every oil that I put on him, he would stand up, and I would assess him, and he would do the whole thing. And he'd go, oh, it's probably just my imagination, but yeah, it feels a little bit better, but it's probably just my imagination. Well, on the 6th oil, he said, okay, so all of the pain that I was feeling is gone, except I have this one pain still left in my lower back. And I said, all right, well, we've got one more oil left. Put it on, and we'll just see, how it is. So I put it on, and he stood up, and he goes, I'll be daggone, the pain is gone. I don't believe it. And he's so excited, and he's walking around, and he was totally blown away by it. And so I got more and more excited that this had worked, and I came home, and my wonderful but very skeptical husband was thinking that I was losing my mind and that this wasn't really going to work, and he was having some neck pain and that kind of thing, just muscle pain. And I said, all right, I'm going to try this on you. It worked great for Mom and Dad, so I'm going to try it on you. And he goes, yeah, okay, whatever. The very first oil I put on him, the first one in the system, which is To Be at Peace, he stood up and he walked around the room, and he's bending his neck back and forth. And I can tell that it's worked, but he doesn't want to admit it. And he says, all right, what kind of voodoo is this? And I started laughing, and I said, did it work? And he said, it totally worked, and it doesn't hurt anymore. And so he was probably one of my bigger skeptics. So I was really getting excited that I finally had stumbled on something that was really working for people, and I was so excited. And I was really new into Youngevity at the time, so I hadn't experienced a lot of the other products, but I was getting really excited about the oils. And so I kept going, and I would find people that I knew that I would talk to about the oils, and every opportunity I had to bring it up, I would kind of mention it, and I carry samples around in my purse. I got one of the little small oil bags that has the small, I think they're 5/8 dram bottles, and I carried them in my purse all the time, just in case I run into somebody who complains of a headache or a stuffy nose or a cough or whatever, I have something that I can offer them. And so I was running into people a lot, and I ran into another friend who was extremely skeptical, and she said, I don't believe in any of that stuff, and, you know, you can, okay, well, if it worked for your mom, I know her, I'll give it a try. Go ahead, here's my feet. So I did it on her, and she had some other, in fact, the reason I saw her, I was at her house. We were doing an Our Memories for Life party is why I was there. So she had a group of ladies around her, and they were all skeptical. So I did it on her, the Essential Results Now, and it worked. And she became a huge believer in the oils, and she has purchased some of the oils herself as she can, and she has other friends who are also interested because they saw the look on her face. She went from barely being able to get out of her chair to almost being able to dance around the room, just in the few minutes that it took me to put the oils on her feet. So
That's amazing.
It truly was amazing. It really was. So I had a weekend crop event, and my friend that I do these crops with, she's also a longevity distributor. She and I decided that we were going to do the Essential Results Now demonstration and pick the person in the room that we thought would benefit the most from it. So we did, and sure enough, this girl's name is also Anna, and she came in and she said, I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. My stomach has been so upset. Every time I eat, I throw up. So our first suggestion to her was, let's give you some of the GI Purify. We'll put it on your feet, and we'll rub a little on your tummy and see how you do. Well, within 10 minutes, she was feeling a lot better. She was not sick the entire weekend, never felt sick, felt great all weekend long from that one application. We never had to reapply it. She felt great. She also was having some back and leg problems that weekend, and so we chose her to do the demonstration. When we did it, we had a couple of girls around the room who really weren't paying attention to what we were doing. They were too involved in doing their scrapbooking. They really had no interest in seeing the oils. And so they just kind of were going about their business. But we chose to do it right in the center of the room, where even if they weren't paying attention, they couldn't help but hear what was going on. And so as we did it, of course, it worked. She went from not being able to get out of her chair without assistance to almost jumping out of her chair and walking across the room, and the expression on her face brightened, and she was just a perfect testimonial of how well it worked. Well, a couple of the girls started talking, and one girl said, well, you know, I have tinnitus in my ear. What do I do about that? So we looked that up in the app and picked the right oil and let her try a little bit in the right spot underneath her ear. And she said, this is the first time in 6 years that I haven't heard ringing in my ear. And we were blown away by that. We're still amazed. In fact, I'm amazed every time an oil works that well. She said, it's completely gone. I have no ringing in one ear. The other ear, she had diminished ringing. It didn't take it all away, but it was definitely better. And by the next morning,
what oil did you use, Amy? Do you remember?
It was rosemary oil.
And you put it right behind your ear?
Yep, just right behind and underneath.
My father-in-law has it. I'm going to have to give that a try.
Oh, absolutely. Because while we're talking, and this girl's just so excited that she's having this relief, well, another girl speaks up and says, I have tinnitus too. Let me try it. Well, it worked for her. Another girl said, I have tinnitus too. Now, we only had probably 20 people in this room, so why 3 of 20 people had tinnitus is beyond me. But they did. And it worked for all of them. Now, the first girl came back down the next morning and said that it had come back. So, you know, definitely, as we know, the oils are not a cure. But she was able to reapply it and get relief again, which was wonderful. Just to even give her a break from hearing that sound must have been wonderful. I think that would drive me nuts. So some of the girls that had been skeptical through all of this and had not been paying any attention to us at all suddenly we're starting to perk up and go, well, my daughter has a problem with focusing. What do you have for that? And, well, my husband has this issue. Do you have anything that would work for that? And suddenly, even the most skeptical girls who not only didn't want to hear about oils, they didn't want to hear about Youngevity at all, they were only there for scrapbooking and scrapbooking only, were suddenly becoming preferred customers. And then an hour later, well, I might as well become a distributor. And we probably signed, I can't remember now, I think we signed 4 or 5 $10 distributors that day. Most of them had been skeptical and had no interest when we started that weekend. And by the end of the weekend, they were very excited. So the oils have been wonderful for me because they are much more of an instantaneous result. The nutrition is a long-term thing, and it's something that people need to take for long periods of time. But the oils, to me, have been kind of a gateway into it, to be able to say, this is something that will give you relief right now. Again, you have to be careful because they're not cures, but it'll offer some relief now. And then it gives me confidence to start talking then about the nutrition and the real core of Youngevity products. So it's really been a blessing for me.
That is so awesome, Amy. And I've had similar results at the crops where I've said to people, I don't know anything about this except that you rub it on your feet and it's supposed to give you relief, and they start doing it, and pretty soon they start doing it to each other, and they're like, this hurts, that hurts, oh my gosh, this is fixed, that's fixed. And the same thing, they all just are like, what is this voodoo magic? But whatever it is, they want it. You know?
It's right, and I use oils, different oils every day. I've slowly built my collection. I do the Aroma Share Club every month because I think that's by far the best thing that you can do, to build up your oils for a very reasonable price. And I don't have all of the oils yet. I'm still working toward that. But I use what I do have, a different oil every day, whatever I'm feeling, whether I hurt my knee, so I was using muscle oils for a while. If I have a headache. Last night, my husband, we'd gone skiing, and he'd gotten a bruise. And so I used the oil that was best for a bruise.
Do you apply it right to the bruise?
For that one, yes. You just put it right on top of the bruise. Okay. We've been traveling, and my daughter fell and scraped her knee, and I had oils with me, and I put them on her knee. I try not to go anywhere without them. I have basic ones I carry in my purse every day. And then if we travel somewhere, if I can, I take them all. Because you just never know.
So tell us what's in your purse that you have every day.
Okay. I have, like I said, they're the tiny little bottles. And I have
I'm going to edit this presentation while we're online, and I'm going to add your tip here so that it saves on this power.
So I carry 2 of the little pocket-sized things that you can get online. I think you can get them through Amazon. Hopefully we'll start selling them soon. And each of them have 8 of the tiny little bottles inside. So in one of them, I carry all 7 of the Essential Results Now oils. Because one, if I run into somebody and I'm talking to them, I have those available, and we can sit down right then and there and do it. Even if I don't have the special chart or whatever, I can grab a piece of paper, do my own charting, and they're right there. The other reason I like those is because I think once you understand the Essential Results Now program, they're very versatile oils, and each one of them addresses most main problems that I encounter with people, whether it's a pulled muscle or sciatica or headache or whatever. And then my 8th oil in that pack is First Defense. Carry that one around, especially this time of year. I put it on me and my children every day, and we haven't been sick all winter. On their feet, yeah. Well, on myself and my son, because he's 13, I do First Defense on their big toe, under the neck of the big toe, and down their arch every morning. On my daughter, I use To Be Well because she's only 9.
Oh, and you can't use First Defense on?
First Defense is adults only, 10 and up.
Okay. To Be Well.
to be well. Yeah, that's the same thing just for younger ones. It's just not quite as strong.
Okay. So you have results now in the first defense, and then
in the other pack, I carry.
This is in your purse too, or no?
Yep, they're both in my purse. I carry lemon, and I carry that one because that's the perfect thing if you're at a restaurant and you're questioning the cleanliness of the glass that you're drinking out of. You can put a drop in there and know that you're purifying your water and the glass that you're drinking out of. And it's also a great diuretic. But you have to be careful. One drop only is all you need. I carry tea tree because that is one of the most universal oils that we have. It can substitute in for any other oil if you don't have other oils on hand. That's kind of a go-to. And I learned all of this from the oils Facebook page, from listening to the Tuesday and Wednesday calls with Judy and Brenda and Leanne, and listening to Brenda Wright's oil CD that you can buy. That's how I've learned everything that I know. And I certainly don't know it all.
App?
What's that?
Do you use the app that's out there?
I do. Now that it's available for Android, I do use that now. But that's been fairly new for me because I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, okay.
But I use it now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I carry tea tree because, that's just a great disinfectant. It's just good for a lot of purposes. I carry lavender because that's another great oil for burns. I burned my hand really badly, and I grabbed the lavender and put a couple of drops on. The blister disappeared. The pain went away immediately. The blister disappeared within a couple of hours. By the next day, you couldn't even tell that I'd burned my hand. Another friend of mine burned hers. She dropped a hot glue gun. It exploded in her hand. Oh. And she had to go to the hospital, and glue and skin was hanging all over. I ran into her the next day, and I put some lavender oil on her hand. And by the next day, again, you couldn't even tell that she had been burned.
Wow.
So I carry lavender. It's also a good, if you feel stressed and you need to calm down real quick, you can grab your lavender and take a sniff. I carry To Be Happy because it does what it says it does. It just makes you happy. So again, in moments of stress, or if you're in a room full of people that are feeling stressed, you can accidentally spill a drop or two, and it'll kind of calm the room down. I carry Eucalyptus globulus. Now that I have a few more oils, I probably should replace that one. Eucalyptus is just another great oil, especially for respiratory problems, stuffy nose, coughing. But Eucalyptus radiata might be the better choice because it's better for children.
How do you spell it?
R-A-D-I-A-T-A.
So what is this one for?
That's a great one for respiratory issues.
Okay.
And in a pinch, it can be used topically for some muscle issues if you had to. It may not be the first choice, but it can help if you twisted an ankle or something while you were out.
Okay.
Peppermint is a definite must to carry around because it's wonderful for headaches. If you have migraines or you know people that have migraines. I was at the baseball field with my son, and one of the other moms couldn't even get out of her car. She was having such a bad migraine. I gave her a couple of drops of peppermint oil to rub around her hairline, on her temples, and on the back of her neck. And within 5 or 10 minutes, she at least lost the horrendous nausea she was feeling, and within a half an hour, she was able to at least get up off of her feet and walk around, or get onto her feet and walk around. So it didn't completely take it away because it was a very serious migraine, but she went from completely incapacitated to being able to drive her kid home from baseball.
That's huge.
It was amazing. And then and peppermint's also good. I've used it for this too. If you're out and you eat too much and you get indigestion, you can put a drop of peppermint oil in your water, and it's great for indigestion. I carry spearmint and fennel, both of which are good for digestive issues. And my daughter has a sensitive stomach and just often gets an upset stomach. So I'll just rub a little bit of spearmint or fennel on her tummy, and it'll usually kind of settle her tummy down, make her feel a little bit better.
So do you suggest that instead of GI Purify?
GI Purify is great. I have those in there, honestly, because I didn't have GI Purify at the time. That's what I had, and I've just never replaced them. When I'm home, I would grab the GI Purify, but when I'm out, that's just what's in my purse, and I still have some in the bottles. So the thing about the oils is they're very versatile. I know that they can be scary because you do kind of need to know what you're doing, especially when you recommend that people ingest them, like putting a drop of lemon in your water or a drop of peppermint. We, as a company, typically don't recommend people ingest our oils unless you absolutely know that it's safe. Brenda has said a number of times, and so has Judy Wright, that it's okay to put a drop of lemon or a drop of peppermint in your ice water. So I feel comfortable doing that and telling other people they can do that. Otherwise, I don't tell people they can ingest oils. And there's a lot I don't know, and so I just stick with what I do know. And if somebody asks me a question and I'm not comfortable with an answer, instead of giving them an answer, I'm okay with saying, I don't know the answer to that, but I can go on Facebook and ask the question for you, or I'll do a little research for you. I want to encourage people not to be afraid of them. There's so much to know, and I think you could, bless you, I think you could study for years and years and maybe not know it all, but start somewhere and pick a couple of oils to become familiar with and carry them around and learn what you can about them and continue to learn. Buy Leanne's new book. I think is going to be fabulous. I'm really excited about it. In fact, I think I bought 5 or 6 of them. I pre-ordered them. And I'm just going to have them on hand, and I'm going to sell them to people who want them. I've done that with the Still Room book. I bought them in bulk. I bought them for the discounted price, and I sell them for the full price.
I think that's a great idea. I can't wait to get her book. It should be here any day. Spell respiratory for me. You guys are seeing how ridiculous I am that I don't know how to spell, and it's all captured on the recording. How do you spell respiratory?
R-E-S-P-I-R-A-T-O-R-Y.
Oh, there you go. Okay, thank you. I've tried to write it 10 different ways. I can't spell at all. I don't know what I got to school. I just do spell check constantly. But it failed me on this one. It was putting all sorts of other things in there, but not respiratory. How many of you, I don't know, are you going to Leanne and Brenda's 7-hour training at convention? Are you able to do that, Amy?
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm able to be at convention. I did attend. One of the girls in my area had organized a weekend class that Brenda came to very close to me. And so I did attend that, and it was fabulous. So if anyone has an opportunity to attend a class with Brenda or Leanne, take it. And I totally intend to do the certification classes when they're available.
That's awesome. Well, I am just thrilled that you gave us this list, and I was able to add it on here because I know there's a lot of people that are wondering what they should carry, and I know the results now has been really significant for me as well. I had a similar thing with my father-in-law that you did where he was having back issues, and the exact same thing. He was putting it on his feet, and he'd get up and walk around and come back and go, it's probably just because I'm moving more than I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's probably all this water I'm drinking. It's making things just worse, you know, or just every excuse. And finally, by the last one, he's like, I don't even know what to say because I feel better. It's like, well, it's say that it works because it works. So yeah,
that's exactly right. And I have more stories that I could share that I didn't. I mean, I had the same thing with my mother-in-law. My husband has eye floaters that drive him crazy, and so there's a recipe in the Still Room book for eye floaters. I mixed that up, and he said it was definitely making a difference. Yeah, I mean, just they do work. They really do.
We're going to have you on a call dedicated just to teaching about oils for us, Amy, because we're just about out of time for today. But no, we really appreciate it. So, yeah, we totally appreciate it, and we're so thankful that you could do this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And it is all recorded. Even though I want to record the front part of this webinar again, I might not just because this part was so good.
Oh, well, I'm glad it was helpful.
Yeah, it was super helpful. So does anyone have any questions for Amy on anything? Do you have any, any last minute questions? Let's see if anything pops up here. All right, it doesn't sound like anybody is asking me questions. All right, well, if there aren't any questions, then I'm going to stop the recording, and I will save this and post it out on Team Ignite. And again, thank you so much, Amy, for the testimonials, and we're really excited to see your oils business grow, and hopefully you guys will be able to watch this again and watch the rest of the business training so that you can get through the whole list, the invitation, the presentation, and the close, and work with your new distributors on that strategy session after we go through that. And if you need it before I actually do the webinar, don't hesitate to call me, and I'll help you go through that as well. So thank you all so much for being on, and have an awesome night. Talk to you soon. Bye.